definitely scary. I hope that they can come up with a solution that obviously helps.
Good evening. At First at 5, new calls in the Rose City for solutions that can help protect students and prevent violence after gunfire erupted outside a Portland area high school for the 4th time in 3 months. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. The most recent shooting happened by Franklin High School over the weekend. District leaders and police are now talking student safety. Let's bring in Mike Benner from outside district headquarters in North Portland. So Mike, what's the superintendent saying about all this?
Well, Laurel, nothing on camera. We were told that Superintendent Guadalupe Guerrero was not available for interviews, but he did send an email to parents saying that psychologists and counselors would be on hand at all schools today. And he says that there are discussions about adding school resources like patrols around schools as well. Students trickle out of Franklin High School Monday afternoon. On the surface, it looks like a normal day, but make no mistake about it, it is not.
Definitely unsettling, scary, frightening. I'm picking up my son today, obviously.
The concern stems from a shooting outside the school Saturday night. It happened during a basketball game. A KGW crew happened to be there and captured these chaotic moments right after the shooting. Not to mention this eyewitness account.
I started hearing like 5 to 8, seemed like firecracker noises, and I thought, what's going on? And then my brain went into overdrive and I realized what was happening, and I just started sprinting.
According to police, somebody suffered minor injuries and declined medical treatment. We're told a 15-year-old boy was detained and a gun seized.
I just want to say I feel both great sadness, but also very great frustration and anger.
Sandy Chung is the executive director of the ACLU of Oregon. As troubled as she is by the shooting outside Franklin and the shootings outside Cleveland and Jefferson high schools dating back to October, Chung does not think the answer is putting school resource officers back into schools. She points to research that indicates SROs do very little to prevent shootings. And then there's this.
School resource officers intensify the use of suspensions, expulsions, police referrals, and arrests of students, that these effects are consistently over times 2 times larger for Black students than white students.
What is going to happen for people to quit blaming law enforcement?
Sergeant Aaron Schmautz is the president of the Portland Police Association, and he ran the SRO program when it was disbanded back in 2020. He likes the idea of adding SROs to schools, assuming the program is implemented thoughtfully and there's support for it.
Police work done in schools is not just police work. It is social work, it is support, it is family support, it is all these different programs come together in a multidisciplinary way to help divert kids from the criminal justice system.
What police and school leaders appear to be inching closer to in the immediate future is extra patrols around all Portland schools. A deterrent to gun violence the Franklin parent we spoke to is all for.
You're supposed to be able to come to school, right? That's your safe place. For a lot of kids, school is your safe spot. And to have that taken away just for some nonsense, right?
You can hear the uneasiness in her voice. A lot of parents feeling that uneasiness tonight. Certainly a lot more to come on this issue. We'll stay on top of it and bring you any new developments as we get them. For now, I'll send it back to you.
You can certainly understand why they feel unsettled. Thank you, Mike. Oregon's new governor has officially taken the oath of office. Tina Kotek was sworn in just a few hours ago and then delivered her inaugural address. She is Oregon's 39th governor as the legislative session gets underway next week. Blair Best joins us outside the state capitol in Salem tonight. Blair, big day there in Salem.
Yeah, Laurel, perhaps the biggest change in Salem this year is the arrival of a new governor. Democrat Tina Kotek was sworn in just around 1 o'clock this afternoon, followed by her inaugural speech, where she talked of new possibilities and how she plans to tackle Oregon's most pressing issues.
The governor-elect of the state of Oregon, Tina Kotek.
There was a renewed energy at the state capitol before a bustling, celebratory House chamber. Democratic Governor Tina Kotek was sworn in just after 1 o'clock Monday.
I, Tina Kotek.
I, Tina Kotek.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
She takes the place of Democrat Kate Brown, who leaves with the lowest approval rating of any governor in the nation.
I would also like to thank my predecessor, Governor Brown.
Governor Kotek is the former House Speaker and Oregon's first openly lesbian governor. Making history was not lost on her today.
I am honored and so deeply humbled by this opportunity to serve Oregon.
During her inaugural speech, Governor Kotek focused on the possibility of making things better for Oregonians.
Governing is about serving Oregonians, all Oregonians. And I have heard from people loud and clear, the status quo is not working.
She pledged to declare a homelessness state of emergency.
Imagine an Oregon where no one has to live in a tent on a sidewalk.
Build more affordable housing.
We must take on our housing crisis at the scale needed to solve it. So on my first full day in office tomorrow, I'm moving forward on 2 promises on this front. First, I'm signing an executive order that will address the underlying challenge facing our state. We need more housing. My executive order will establish an ambitious statewide housing production target of more than 36,000 new homes per year.
And urged the House to take up her $130 million investment package to help homeless people move off the streets within a year.
Our state's response must meet the urgency of the humanitarian crisis we are facing.
She's now calling on all Oregonians to work together.
And today is a new beginning. I'm eager to get to work, and I hope you will join me. Thank you.
Now, Governor Kotek plans to visit each county in the state within her first year in office with a focus on gaining trust with Republicans. Now, she's also been meeting regularly with Portland's mayor to address the ongoing homeless crisis there. Laurel?
Thank you, Blair.
And beyond the new governor, one of 2 lesbian governors in this country, I should add, this session also has something else, the most diverse Oregon legislature in history. Just one example here, 5 Vietnamese Americans were sworn in as lawmakers today. Our Brian Clerkley caught up with them and has more from Salem.
It's a big day here in Salem, the most diverse legislature in Oregon's history, 19 people of color, and now Oregon has the most Vietnamese American representation in its legislature, more than any other state. A traditional Vietnamese lion dance to welcome 5 Vietnamese American legislators during the swearing-in ceremony in Salem. Rep. Daniel Nguyen represents Lake Oswego in southwest Portland. He's Vietnamese American, a small business owner, and is here with his family celebrating his new role. He says representation matters.
Among the 5 of us, we have a common background coming from refugee families, but we're all in different professions. Some of us are in the small business community, others are in the National Guard, in the medical fields.
Rep. Hoa Nguyen represents parts of East Portland, Damascus, Happy Valley, and Sandy. This traditional lion dance made everything feel so real to her. She says the more diversity within government, the better.
I felt seen in that capital. For historically, you've only seen certain types of people serving in that space.
Representative Con Pham was the first Vietnamese American legislator elected in 2020. Now she's happy to be serving with 4 other colleagues from her community.
I think it's a real testament to the resilience of refugees and immigrants, and also the capacity of Oregon to be a welcoming and inclusive state.
Inside the state capitol, family and friends gathered around. This historic moment, a special occasion for generations of Vietnamese Americans in the same room. Newly elected Rep. Hai Pham with District 36 says it will be nice to see people who look like him at the Capitol.
It makes me feel a lot more comfortable. 20 years ago it looked a lot different, but I felt so welcome through this entire process.
Rep. Thuy Tran represents House District 45, which is northeast Portland. She says she feels honored and privileged to be part of history.
Diversity will bring varied lived experiences and perspective to the table.
The official start to the legislative session is January 17th, and some of the issues lawmakers would like to focus on include housing, education, and public safety. In Salem, I'm Bryant Clerkley, KGW News.
Today is also the start of the new legislative session in Washington state. Lawmakers in Olympia are meeting in person for the first time since the pandemic began. Issues they plan to take up include a constitutional amendment to protect abortion rights. an assault weapons ban, and a $4 billion bond measure to build thousands of affordable housing units. Washington's legislative session will run through April 29th.
Today, the National Women's Soccer League permanently banned 4 coaches, including former Portland Thorns coach Paul Riley. Now, late last month, the league and its Players Association released a report detailing alleged widespread abuse and misconduct. Riley was one of the people at the center of that report. The NWSL also fined the Thorns $1 million. Owner Merritt Paulson has pledged that money will go toward the creation of the NWSL Player Safety Office. Paulson is also selling the club.
Now a follow-up to a Call Kyle investigation. Today, a federal judge sentenced a former Portland lawyer to 8 years in prison for stealing millions of dollars from her clients. Investigative reporter Kylie Boshi has been following this case for several years and was in the courtroom today. Kyle?
Lori Devney was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison and ordered to pay more than $4.5 million in restitution to her victims. Unfortunately, most of them will never get paid. The money is long gone. The former Portland lawyer pleaded guilty to mail, bank, and wire fraud along with other federal charges. Prosecutors allege Devney stole money from her clients, many of whom suffered traumatic head injuries, by cashing their settlement checks from insurers. According to court records, Devney defrauded at least 135 clients out of millions and millions of dollars. So where did all that money go? Well, prosecutors believe Devney spent lavishly, using the stolen money to pay for big game hunting trips, luxury vacations, fancy cigars, and a home remodel. I tried to speak with Devney as she left the courthouse today.
Ms. Devney, Kylie Boshi, KGW Channel 8. You care to apologize to your victims?
I've already done that in court today. I have nothing further to say to you.
You care to apologize to the legal community here?
As a result of this case, the state bar raised its cap on how much victims of a dishonest lawyer can claim from the bar's client security fund. Additionally, state lawmakers passed legislation that requires insurance companies notify beneficiaries when they send settlement checks, so the client will know when the money's available at the same time as the lawyer. Devney will be sentenced on state charges later this month. She'll likely get even more prison time.